Hey guys, so this is the next edition of Science from the Pantry, and this is the shiny penny video. So what we're going to do today is using some regular stuff that you can find in the kitchen. We're going to see what is the best to shine some pennies. So I have a bunch of dirty pennies right here, and then we're going to see what cleans them the best from your kitchen. So let's get to it. Okay, so what we're going to use today is we have some salt, we have some lemon juice, and this little packet is vinegar. If you can see that says vinegar there. We have some ketchup, and then we have a bottle of Coke. So for this one with the salt, what I'm actually going to do is there's going to be one that has lemon and salt, and then one that just has the lemon. And I'm kind of curious to see if the salt really does make a huge difference with the penny. So let's go ahead and get everything in here. We'll dump our pennies in. I'm going to let these sit for a little while, and then we'll come back and I'll take each penny out, wipe it off, and see which one shines the best. So this one, I'm just going to put in lemon juice. This one is the lemon juice with the salt. Okay. And this is the vinegar. I actually got this in one of those packets where they give you all the ingredients and then you make your meal. But I didn't really want to pickle jalapenos, so I'm not a fan of jalapenos. So there's the vinegar in that one. So I'm just going to set this down here and hopefully it doesn't spill out. I've got the ketchup, and I think, yep, I haven't taken the this off yet. Okay, so we're going to put ketchup in this one. Okay, and then in this one we're going to put some Coke. Okay, and now let's go ahead and put in our pennies. So these pennies, you can see that they're all about equally dirty. So we're just going to go ahead and put them in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to swirl this for the lemon and the salt mixture. And then I'm just going to use my finger and just sort of push that into the ketchup. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to let these sit for a little while. Then we're going to come back and see which pennies shine the best. And I can already tell that that penny in the vinegar is like already getting clean. So that's actually kind of cool to watch. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, so 1 hour has passed since we put these in there. So let's go ahead and just take each penny out one by one. I'm going to dip it in a little bit of water and clean it off, and then we'll compare them and see which of these household items shined the penny the best, or cleaned it the best, really. So let's go ahead and start with the salt and lemon. We're just going to give this a... Alright, so yeah, it definitely cleaned it a little bit. And this one is just the lemon without the salt. Okay, so that one maybe didn't clean it as well as the lemon with the salt did. Now the vinegar, my gosh, that like really cleaned it good. So let's rinse that off. You can see that that's quite a difference between these ones. And now my favorite, the nasty ketchup. Ew, that is dirty. It's all covered in ketchup. Okay, like that. Just dry it off a little bit. Wow, that did pretty good too. The ketchup did a good job. And now for the Coca-Cola. Yeah, it cleaned it fairly well. I'll dry that off. And lay it down here. So it did a little bit of cleaning, but not as good as the ketchup and the vinegar did. So I'm going to put these all together side by side, and then I will zoom in so that you can see them and compare the differences, okay? So here we go. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so here is the side-by-side comparison. This one is the salt with the lemon juice. This one is just lemon juice. This one was the vinegar. That one was the ketchup. And that one was the Coca-Cola. And as you can see, ketchup did a really good job of cleaning that penny. And then so did just plain vinegar. So by looking at this, I'm going to guess and just say that the ketchup did the best job. I mean, that's, to me, the ketchup penny does look a lot cleaner. And if you remember, these were all kind of the same dirtiness. But I'm going to go one step further. I've got a few more pennies that I have not cleaned. And because vinegar and ketchup look like they were the best ones, I'm going to do this again. So I've got the vinegar and the ketchup here. If I can get it in here. I'm going to do this one more time. And I'm just kind of curious to see between those two, and those pennies were kind of the same amount of dirty. And I'm just curious to see if one of these is better than the other. So we're going to let that go for another hour. And then I'm going to be back. And then I want to compare them again, because in science, you want to be able to duplicate your experiment and get the same result. So let's try this again, and then I'll be back in another hour. All right, so 1 hour has gone by. I let these two pennies soak again because I was curious about the vinegar and the ketchup. So let's go ahead and rinse them off, and then we'll see. But if you remember, this one here was the salt and lemon. That was lemon juice. That was vinegar. That was ketchup, and that was just soda. So let's clear the ones that were the best and see if there's any difference. All right, give these a little dry. All right, so that is the penny that was in the vinegar. So let's scoot these back a little bit so that you can see them. So again, the vinegar did a really good job at shining that penny. And let's get the one out of the nasty ketchup and clean it off. Okay. And then there is the one that was in the ketchup. Now, something that I hope that you can maybe see in this, the ketchup penny is really clean, but the odd thing about it is that it doesn't have the same light reflection. Like when I'm looking at it sideways, I see the light. This one's shining a bit more. That looks cleaner, but it's not reflecting the light back as much. Okay, well there you have it. We now know that vinegar is the best thing for shining a penny. So here's a few fun facts. Did you know that the Statue of Liberty is made out of copper, just like the copper in your pennies? And that there are no color pictures of the Statue of Liberty, which was made in 1886. Because colored film didn't even get invented until the 1940s, which was 55 years later. But here's the weird thing. Why is the Statue of Liberty not the color of pennies? And that's because it oxidized. And oxidation happens with almost every metal. But the really weird thing about copper is it creates a covering called a patina, and that is the green color that we see in the Statue of Liberty. So for the first few months after the Statue of Liberty was put up, it was a beautiful gold color for a very short time. After about 3 or 4 months, it turned red, and then after about 5 years, it started to turn green. And it actually started turning green really fast because of the pollution in New York City and the salt water from the ocean. But anyway, did you know that the Statue of Liberty is only about as thick as 2 pennies on the outside? And if you think about it, it took the amount of 30 million pennies to cover the Statue of Liberty, which is about $300,000. worth of pennies. Well, anyway, that's it for today. Bye.